Well, fresh baked. This just in, Disney has announced a new theme park, a whole giant, complete, brand new theme park somewhere out there in the universe. Actually, it's in Abu Dhabi in the United Arab Emirates. Now, normally I'm not one to put together an ad hoc video like I am today. The news broke while I was getting ready and on my way to Disneyland to film a video. So I don't have a chance to sit down at the desk. I don't have a chance to prepare a formal video. I haven't written a script or anything, so we're going to do this ad hoc because I felt like I really needed to get something, in front of our audience today, because people are going to be asking me, if nothing else, did you hear? Yes, I did. So the basics of this announcement is that they're building a brand new theme park, the 7th Disney theme park in the world. They're building it in the United Arab Emirates in Abu Dhabi, which is one of the main cities there. I think there's, I don't know, I'm not sure how many cities they have, but it's Dubai basically. It's right next to Dubai. I want to say, I'm going to look at the announcement here. Yes, Yas Island, which by the way, that sounds kind of cool. That sounds kind of awesome. But yeah, so there's not a lot of specifics being provided here, other than they're just hyping and they're saying how excited they are that they're getting ready to build this park. But there are some points that we can draw, some conclusions, some inferences even that we can make. And here, let me find one of the quotes, one of the top quotes. This is per Robert Iger. As our 7th theme park destination, it will rise from this land in spectacular fashion, blending contemporary architecture with cutting-edge technology to offer guests deeply immersive entertainment experiences in unique and modern ways. Now, what I take from that is that go to any other Disney theme park. Don't take, not Epcot or Animal Kingdom or Hollywood or anything like that, but the Disneylands, as it were. They're all steeped in tradition, nostalgia, vintage qualities. I don't think that's what we're getting here. And it's said elsewhere in the release, I believe, that this is going to be one of the most technologically advanced parks that they've ever built. And there's probably, there's a lot of reasons for that. I'm sure I'm only going to guess. I can only infer from what I read, but I feel like maybe that's, it's a different audience in Abu Dhabi. Although people may not know, it's a very metropolitan, or I should say cosmopolitan city to live in. It's not just locals, or I think patriots is what they call. These are a lot of the folks that are coming from different countries. They have a very wide variety of people living in that space. I don't know, which by the way, let me just get into that. I'm going to confess right away. I don't know a lot about Abu Dhabi. I don't know a lot about the UAE or all of those countries out there. I'm deeply unaware of how things operate, which is why I'm probably not going to speculate too much on some of the issues that people might have with Disney building this, because you hear things and people talk. Obviously, there's already comments being thrown around. I am not familiar, or I'm not well versed enough, well educated enough in any of those topics. I just want to talk about the Disney aspects of this announcement. How does it affect us as Disney fans? What kind of park are they going to build? Here comes the monorail, and how excited should we be? What kind of Disneyland are they going to build? And I have a feeling, I have a strong suspicion it's going to be unlike anything we've ever seen, both in just what kind of rides they offer, but just in general how the park it's going to be more modern than anything, because it's been how long has it been since they built a new theme park, a brand new theme park? Shanghai, right? Which is actually, in retrospect, it's not that long ago, but I certainly technology and things in the digital age have come a long way even since then. They built new lands, the Disney Springs, for example, but just from the ground up, a whole new theme park. This doesn't happen very often. This is, generational type stuff. So I think they're going to go for it. And I think one of the reasons why they are going for it, and this is something that we should be mentioning right off the top, I think one of the reasons why we're going to get that sort of advancement, why we're going to get a park that we haven't seen before, has a lot to do with the fact that they're probably not paying for this, or at least not all of it anyway. We've already seen that kind of arrangement in, with the Oriental Land Company. But I think it's going to be even more so here. And this is also a trend that Disney's been doing in other parts of their business, licensing as opposed to owning. I have a strong suspicion that the UAE is paying for most or all of this park. And so that's going to give Disney license, and it's going to give them the opportunity to allow things that they haven't done before, the things they might have been hesitant to do or not felt progressive enough to do, they're going to do them here in this park. That, for me, is a very exciting possibility in terms of they're leaning into the technology, leaning into a contemporary theme park because of the, first of all, there's the competition with Epic, which, by the way, great restraint on Disney's part not calling this Epic Disneyland. I kid, of course, but this is a great opportunity for them to sort of respond. I mean, obviously, it's not the same because Epic Universe exists in the States, and this is going to be in a completely foreign environment that any of us are familiar with, I would say, or most of us, I should say. But nevertheless, it's going to be a park like we've never seen before. And that's going to include the technology, both in terms of the attractions that they build, the scope and the scale of what they build, how detailed it's going to be, how immersive and complete, all of the guest-facing technologies in terms of like tickets and food service and things like that. We're going to see a side of Disney that we may have never seen before in those regards. So I'm really looking forward to that. And I do think it's going to be different even from the more modern parks like Shanghai, et cetera, because I do think that there's more of a Western mindset in Abu Dhabi and Dubai and the UAE. They have a more Western mindset than parks in Shanghai, et cetera, might have. So I feel like that's one of the reasons why we should expect something like that. Now, people might be wondering, why does the UAE want to build a Disney theme park? Because that's not the first thing people say. Hey, where should they build a new Disneyland? I don't think that was near the top of lists. I think that Australia, New Zealand, some other countries like that, maybe another one in the Asian countries. But I mean, it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense because the UAE have been pushing recently in the last decade or so. They are trying to become a destination. They're trying to become a multicultural destination that is business friendly, and they're trying to bring in all kinds of. I'm a golfer. If you are or not, I'm not sure. But the Live Golf Tour, it's been a big deal. They basically have taken half of the stars from the PGA Tour and brought them over to the Live Golf Tour. So there's that. So they're doing the same thing, I think, with Disney. They're trying to bring Western culture. Maybe I'm not necessarily in, but trying to be open to it. Now that actually brings up a conversation about the differences in our social and political environments that exist, here in the States versus what you might find in the UAE. They're very different. I wouldn't want to infer too much in that regard, in the sense that this isn't necessarily a signal that they are becoming more progressive in those areas, which, I mean, I guess by comparison to some other countries, perhaps they might be, but I think that they're sort of compartmentalizing it. They are open to bringing in these new environments, but they're still going to have their same. I don't think it's going to change how they view certain social and political things in that country. Again, I don't want to get too deep into that, but I'm just saying that on the top layer, it'll still be the UAE, whether or not Disneyland exists. For Disney's part, they're going to have, I think, a little bit of a tougher conversation to be had, if they even have it, with their guests because of those social and political views that the UAE has. Nonetheless, they obviously feel comfortable enough to bring their product and their brand into the UAE. They feel comfortable enough to make this move. This did not happen lightly. I'm sure that they've been working on this for a very long time. And so this is not just something they're doing randomly. They have a plan. They better have a plan. They have a plan on how to address some of those issues. But again, let's not get into that too much. I want to talk mostly about the theme park. The first thing that came to my mind wasn't what kind of rides they're going to build or what kind of theme park it's going to be, in the sense that, are they going to build an Aladdin land? You know what I mean? Like that's kind of, or are they going to import Beauty and the Beast, or the attractions that we know today, Tron. If you looked at the video, they put up a video that sort of was like a sizzle reel, but it goes all the way back to 1955. But there was a lot of clips of a lot of attractions, modern attractions. Tron, for example, I feel like that's an obvious place that Tron would fit perfectly in a park like that, I think. But that stuff aside, the thing that I liked most is that this could be a great opportunity for Disney to test certain technological components to see how they interact with the public. They do them there first, with limited exposure, and then bring them into Disneyland or other parks here in the U.S. They do stuff like that already at Disneyland Paris. I've noted ticket sales. Basically, they've been using Disneyland Paris as a beta test for some of the ticket. They paid Lightning Lane, betaed at Disneyland Paris. I think the individual ones. I mean, the individual Lightning Lane, and there was I think they did something with annual pass holder reservations also, where they were, I don't think that worked out very well though, to be honest, now that I think about it. That never panned out. But I remember saying, stuff that was happening there eventually would make its way into Disney parks. But that's the part, for me, that is the most interesting, the most curious, that's got me the most excited. I don't care what kind of rides or lands they build, as long as they're great, and as long as they're, fully themed, richly themed, complete, there's no shortcuts taken, which I don't expect there to be. I expect this to be fully funded. The UAE has money to burn. They're throwing it around. Like I said, for the Live Golf Tour, they're throwing money around like crazy at the Live Golf Tour. So that's the kind of thinking that I'm bringing to this, things that I've noticed. So I don't think there's going to be any shortage of budget here, which means they can go all the way. They better go all the way. But the thing that I'm most excited about is how what they do there is going to inform what happens to Disney parks here in the States in the future. Now, I'm going to take a look, actually, real quick, because there is a video, and there goes the monorail again, which means it's going to come back around here in a second. Let's see. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to put this in the video or not, but I'm going to watch the video. Right now they're showing the grand opening, 1955, Mickey going through the castle, Walt's speech. It's sort of like the history of the Disney company in terms of entertainment, and then eventually into the parks. Let's see, yeah, they're showing Millennium Falcon, Smuggler's Run. They're showing the Lion King attraction. They're showing Lion King. Interesting. Bob Iger. So there's the concept art. The castle is very frozen. This could be Elsa's castle, right? And it's always, the castle is the forefront of anything. So that's perhaps the most interesting thing. The castle is both Elsa-like because it's icy looking, but also it's shaped like a lot of the hotel buildings, a lot of the buildings you see in the UAE. Tron is represented. There's I don't know which castle it is. Look at those, man, these guys can build. I'm telling you, these guys can build. I'm really curious what kind of resorts they might build around there. They're showing Spaceship Earth. Go ahead. They're showing Tron. Go ahead and build Spaceship Earth for gosh sakes. I would love that. But yeah, I'm curious now that I'm thinking about it. They're showing Big Thunder. Oh, wow. Oh, that's Cosmic Rewind. Oh, no, that's the new, they just showed the Avengers e-ticket that they're building here at DCA, a Moana show. I mean, they could just, the sky's the limit. The sky is really the limit. They could do anything. But I am curious about resorts. I am curious to see if I can get in the good graces of the Disney company within the next 5 years to get down there for a media preview, at least. That's what they're expecting this to be open or done by 2030, 5 years from now, which is incredibly aggressive considering how long it's taken them to build just a single attraction. Both like Cosmic Rewind took almost that long to build. Cosmic Rewind took them forever to do a lot of other things. But having said that, you can build a bunch of stuff all at the same time. Epic Universe took, let's see, they started building in 2000, just before COVID, 2019, 2020, I want to say 2019. So that took 5 or 6 years also. Although, there was some time down for COVID as well. But that took 5 or 6 years to build. But anyway, okay, so that's all I can come up with now. That's all I can think of for now. We'll have more thoughts, I'm sure, on this because more news is going to be developed. I'm sure they've already got ideas for lands. I'll end with this. Don't read too much into that concept art. Don't read too much into that other than the Elsa castle. I think that's real. I think that is Elsa's castle, and I think that is going to be the centerpiece of this park. But all the other, the artwork that you're seeing for the other lands, it's just like Disneyland Forward. It means nothing. It means absolutely, literally nothing. But I will say this also, putting a wrap on that. If they think they're going to build this by 2030, then they're ready to go now. They're ready to go right now. There's going to be shovels in the ground now. They've already got ideas, for the lands. They know what lands they're going to build. We just don't know what they are yet. I don't want to infer too much from that concept art, but they know. Disney knows. They know the lands and they know attractions, because you have to know all of that before you start building. That is not the case for Disneyland Forward. They still haven't decided. Disneyland Forward, this park will be done probably before they even begin Disneyland Forward. Okay, so that's it. That's all I want to talk about. Let me know your comments or your thoughts in the comments below. And like I said, we'll keep up with the news as it develops here, as things become more available, lands, attractions, that kind of thing. Stay tuned to Fresh Baked. Bye, guys.